Alright, so this is video 3 of 3. Picking up after a little bit of a gap, I decided that for this video I'm going to go ahead and do a different sort of quest against a different monster that I actually have not fought before. So I may fail spectacularly, but I don't think so. But I had to look up, what it's weak to since I'm going to be doing an elemental weapon. Fortunately, it's weak to something I already have a loadout for. It's weak to ice as well as dragon, which I don't actually have. So once again, we've got a different sort of gear set that we're going to go ahead and use. We're going to use the bow, which is, again, very different playstyle. So we're going to go ahead and get set up to do that. Now, the bow uses coatings, which are a consumable. You have a limited amount that you can carry with you. You can carry with you the items you need to craft more in the field. This shouldn't be that difficult, so I'm going to go ahead and not worry about doing that. I am, however, going to make my life a little bit easier. I'm going to take some bombs. And I think that about covers everything I should need. I could go ahead and bring some other temporary buffs that I could use in the field, and some other craftables, but I don't think this is going to be that strenuous. So we've got our items set up. I'm going to go ahead and go to the fast travel location and get my pre-hunt temporary buffs up. Alright, man. I'll catch you later.
Yeah, have a good one.
No peanut gallery on this one, guys. So again, I'm going to pick out the things that are useful to me for what I'm doing. This is again a different set from the ones I've taken previously. And I apparently don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this out and start over. These buffs that you see me selecting, they are chance to activate, not guaranteed. But it's worth taking the chance. There are ways to guarantee you get certain buffs. I don't have that actually available to me. That is, to get that sort of guaranteed buff situation, you have to be further along into the game. There are options I don't have available to me because I am not anywhere near, I guess you would call it high-end game. So I've got my items, I've got my buffs. This is another way you can launch quests. You can talk to the handler, who's honestly kind of annoying, but fortunately she doesn't talk much. More skippable text. We're going to post a new quest. So previously what I've been doing is investigations. Those are targeted quests with a limited amount of times that you can go through them, either failing them or completing them before they go away. That's not a huge deal. You might have 10, 20 investigations for any given monster available to you. Not to mention you can do what we're doing, which is an optional quest. That gives you quests in difficulty ranging from 1 to whatever the highest level you've got available to you is. We're going to take a level 7, and we're going to go ahead and take Ruler of the Azure Skies. It's the same. It was between this one and Rathalos in blue. It's both the same target, both the same rewards. The only difference is the location. The Ruler of the Azure Skies is in a location that is potentially advantageous for me, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to use a voucher on this one because the reward money is pretty high and I may fail. So when you fail, you lose a portion of your rewards money. So I may fail at least once. And if I do, the voucher will help make up for that. And if I don't fail, well, it's a fair amount. It's a fair amount of money, so I may, double my money, and it's worth doing at that point. So we've already eaten, we've got our consumables managed, we're good to go. We'll go ahead and depart on the quest. Now, previously I had had some level of tracking unlocked for what I was hunting. So I got a tracker immediately right off the bat. In this case, I've never hunted this before, so I'm going to go looking for it. I have a guess where it might be, but we're going to see if I'm right. We are not hunting the, whatever that is. Because it's not necessary, and this is a high-level area, so, again, increased chances of failure. It may be up there. It looks like it's not, though. So we're going to have to go elsewhere to find it. I do know this area fairly well, so that gives me some ability to speed up what I'm doing. Some minor monsters that I'm not going to bother with. Oh, and there's what I'm hunting. It just showed up. This is one of the interesting things that you may see. There is the thing I'm hunting. There is the big ugly dude from earlier, and there's a third monster hanging around here somewhere. And I think they're all about to have a pissing match. That's potentially beneficial or potentially really bad. Yep, there they go. So I'm going to use this opportunity to watch them beat the tar out of each other and avoid getting hit. I've been seen. They roar, they make a lot of noises. Maybe not. Now I'm in combat with something, so we'll go ahead and get into combat. So earlier you may have seen me put a coating on my bow. There are, as I mentioned previously, there are multiple coatings available. In this case, right at the outset, I'm going to use the straight damage coating I have available. Not get lit on fire. And then later on, I will use some other coatings. So the bow is probably the most agile of all the things I have available to me. You'll notice me darting back and forth and generally trying to avoid getting hit. Except when I fail. That's because, again, I have a limited health pool. One of the other things you saw, if you notice in the top left, my health bar turned purple. I was afflicted by a status effect. I was poisoned. Later on, you'll see me attempt to poison the monster. I may or may not be successful. But pretty much anything they do to you, apologies for the somewhat slower commentary. This is a more difficult battle. Earlier I mentioned how this area is advantageous for me, and that's why. You can use the environment against the monsters, drop things on their head like I just did, and I am under some kind of status effect, I'm not sure what. Oh, sleep status effect. Those little monsters that I ignored in a previous video, they just put me to sleep. Very poor timing. I was winding up for a major attack while the monster was stunned. I am not going to be able to do that now. What's up? You're being recorded for YouTube.
I am?
Yep, I'm recording commentary on Monster Hunter. So, I've run out of my main attack coding, and the monster is actually flying off. I'm in combat with another monster, so I have to pay attention to where it goes. Oh.
Okay.
Earlier I mentioned how the environment can be used against monsters. In this case, the environment works against me. It's a lava room, so I am going to take damage over time unless I negate that effect. Since I mentioned poisoning the monster, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to poison it now. I'm going to do that by applying the poison coating on my bow. If you look at the bottom right of the screen, you'll see I have it applied. Looks like somewhere along the way, I broke its head. Because as you'll notice, it made that attempt to shoot fire and failed. There we go. I've poisoned it. You'll notice it's taking damage ticks on the screen. And if you can see close enough, it actually had a purple secretion dripping from its straws. There you go. There's a good instance of it trying to shoot fire and failing. I'm going to go ahead and try and collect this while I have a chance, because it's worth a good amount of research points, and I need it so I can track this monster in the future. If we're lucky, I'll be able to put this monster to sleep and do some additional damage to it. And it looks like we were successful. So I would gonna put on the close range coating. That's a damage coating, so I can do more damage to it. Now when it's sleeping, I will get double damage out of it. And I'm also gonna try and cut off its tail. I don't know if we're gonna be successful here. Nope. So we have another small monster. This one is one that I absolutely cannot avoid. I'm going to have to kill it. Because it is aggressive. And that's bad. I am taking poison damage, and I am in very close combat, so I'm going to have to get clear and use some of my consumables. Looks like we drove it off for the moment. We have those angry ones from earlier. And we have text messages. So I could carve those up and get some other sort of items from them, but I don't think it's worth it at this time. I am on a time limit, even though it's fairly generous at nearly an hour. So obviously, as you can see, the more agile weapons, you really have to put in effort to avoid taking damage. And it looks like I was unable to cut off its tail there. I might have that option later. And I was not paying attention, so I got lit on fire and blown up. Generally a bad combination, but I really did not want it here. I wanted it to go fly away and go to sleep, so that gives me the option to do the most damage to it. And it looks like I'm going to have that option. So obviously I'm not going in the direction the monster's at or going, that my scout flies are leading me. That's because I know this area well, and there's an ability for me to get a buff that I would like to use. I've gone ahead and done that. So now we're going to track this thing down and see if we can kill it. So now we have the big question of the hour: is it sleeping? And the answer is yes. So again, we're going to take advantage of that state. We're going to use those bombs we brought along. And do some serious damage, and we were able to cut off its tail. It's now super angry, as evidenced by all the fire and whatnot. And I'm apparently not very bright. And there we go. So that's what a more difficult and advanced quest looks like. Different monster, different playstyle. This showcases the ability of the bow to move around, and how much of a really different playstyle it is from the melee weapons, even the quicker ones. And I think that about covers it. People this was intended for can of course reach out to me with any questions, and if anybody else has questions after for some reason finding this video, you're more than welcome to make a comment and I will get back to you.